Hello and welcome to another episode of the Opportunity Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Elfrink, the head of marketing over here at Empire Flippers. And today I got a very special guest, Jordan West, the founder of Social Commerce Club and the host of the unofficial TikTok Shop podcast. So this was a super fun conversation. Jordan's a great character. We were having a blast before we even started recording. Tons of knowledge. He's worked with big brands doing billions with a B in terms of revenue. He had a lot of stories of these very big e-commerce store owners just crushing it with TikTok Shop. I tried to bring him down a little bit for a lot of our audience, or more in the seven figures, middle seven figures of their e-commerce journey. But either way, no matter where you are in this journey, I think you're going to get an absolute ton of value here. Jordan's a great dude, and I think you're going to enjoy this episode. Hopefully as much as I did. He had me laughing quite a bit throughout this. So that said, I'll get off my soapbox and I'll see you on the other side. All right, I have Jordan West with me here today, the founder of the Social Commerce Club. And we were just having an absolute blast offline. I'm really excited to talk to you about this. As I told you right before we started this podcast at Empire Flippers, we just sold our first business that had TikTok Shop, which was a bit of a journey for us to learn how to do it. So I'm super happy to have you on here. For everyone who doesn't know who you are, Jordan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, Greg, thanks so much for having me on. I was really looking forward to this conversation, which is why yesterday when my assistant accidentally canceled on us, I was like, no, I want to have this conversation with Greg. I'm like, I have known of Empire Flippers for a long time. Also, I got to have Andy, your CEO, on my podcast, which was super fun. Previously, it was called Secrets to Scaling Your E-Commerce Brand. I'll tell you a tiny bit about me. I started in business in 2011-ish, something like that. I was 23 years old. I bought my very first restaurant. I was like, yeah, I'll get into a restaurant, right? It was the best learning experience I can imagine. I lost almost everything that I had at the time. You'll hear that theme over and over again. And then we started our first baby clothing brand in 2015-ish, somewhere in there. And my wife was a fashion designer, and we're like, hey, let's maybe sell these leggings that people seem to like at markets online. So I got to figure out Facebook ads. Probably since then, I've spent close to $100 million on Facebook and Google and all of those things. I've had previous marketing agencies. About 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, I had sold one of our brands down in the States. And then I'm Canadian, just in case you're wondering. And anytime somebody says the States. And then, so we'd sold that brand, but throughout all of that, one of our brands up here, the big one, the big baby clothing brand that we started with, fell into some terrible times. The bank called this huge loan. It all came onto me personally, and we lost everything. And I had another marketing agency at the time, and I was just like, you know what? I'm kind of done here. And we just kind of closed everything up. And I suddenly saw this incredible opportunity of what was going to be social commerce. And I was like, what is this new thing? My friend Brock called me. He owns this brand called Frost Buddy. And he called me up and he's like, Jordan, he's like, I just did 500K this month on TikTok Shop. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is I assumed it was Meta, right?
Right.
I assumed it was Meta shops. Okay, cool. So you're sending traffic to Meta shops, big deal. Okay, finally, I knew TikTok was always a really hard platform to advertise on just because of attribution. You couldn't tell, was TikTok actually driving anything? So I was like, okay, well, maybe it closes that loop. And then I realized how it finally created this win-win between creators and brands, and that it was this closed ecosystem where creators could win just by selling brands' products. And it was oh my gosh, affiliate marketing, good affiliate marketing with influencers, which we like to call creators, is actually going to work. And that is how I got to this place. And so I started Social Commerce Club 17 months ago. And it's just been an absolute whirlwind. We are now, as of today, we're potentially the number one TikTok Shop agency. We just kind of go back and forth between 1, 2, and 3, but we're launching 2 of the biggest consumer brands that you can think of onto the channel. So I think that those will get us ahead of everyone. So
Well, if you had started a bar instead of a restaurant, you might be number one at the consumer brands, because restaurants are considered the second hardest business right after bars. So congratulations.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, I'm sure those lessons were hard fought in terms of what you learned there. And with the loan thing, I'm assuming that was with the leggings brand, like a PG kind of loan, kind of like a SBA loan as they have in the States, or what went down there?
This was a personally guaranteed loan to Royal Bank of Canada. I know it sounds nice, right? And Americans probably listening to this being like, oh, the Royal Bank of Canada, they sound so nice. They're not. I'm not disparaging them at all, but like, no, we actually came to them with a plan. So we knew things were a little bit tight, right? And we had multiple brands in the States. And at one point, we had 8 different brands at once, a lot. And we were like, okay, what exactly are we going to do? And I had a business partner that stopped paying back a loan up in Canada. And that was about $20,000 a month. And that was coming out of the leggings brand. And it was like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? So we come to the bank and they're like, we're like, hey, so we're moving manufacturing here. We need about 6 months. And we had a beautiful plan that would have put us into like an incredible cash flow position. And they repaid our transparency and visibility with calling the loan. It's really difficult when you have these certain like principles, right? Of the way that you want to be in the world. Transparency and visibility and openness is one of those things. Vulnerability is one of those things. And these moments where you get really tested with these principles and you're like, do I continue that on, or do I like now be the person that hides everything? And I've decided not to do that. I've decided, even though getting bit, we recently had like a very key core employee do the same thing. He actually took one of our brands and now is running that brand. And those hard decisions, right? That you're like, what do I do with that, Greg? Right? Like, what do? I continue to be the person that I want to be? Or one of the things I always said is like, I would never sue anyone. Right? Do you go be that person, or do you continue to stick to your principles? And that's, I don't know, I'm 40. Like, no, I just continue to be the person I want to be. And anyway, we're getting into a lot of stuff, but
welcome to my personal development podcast.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what entrepreneurship is, man.
Absolutely.
It is personal development, right? At the end of the day, it's like, sure, you're going to have some like great moments, right? Like you have like the down and then you have like a massive up, and it's like really about personal development at the end of the day, right? Like it's, for me, at least.
I agree, man. One of the biggest lessons, I feel like I'm still learning this, but happened when I was like 16 or 17. My dad, he's a real estate investor up in Alaska, like self-made millionaire, was a farm boy in Missouri, great American dream kind of story, right? And I remember he tried to go big by building his own like apartment blocks, basically. And the developers basically stole all of his money, his partners. They literally stole $1 million in liquidity and flew to Thailand. And he couldn't get it back, right? It almost broke my entire family. I was the only one he told at the time about it. I remember we were sitting in the kitchen and I was so angry. My dad was like completely normal. Like, why are you not more pissed off? He's like, well, I mean, I could be angry, but it's not going to give me back my money. I'd rather spend a nice evening with my son than being angry. It's not going to give me anything. Like, damn, that is some hardcore stoicism right there.
Totally. And you only get that by going through that stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You only get those growth opportunities by actually going through those times, which is why like I love to talk about this stuff, right? When I was going through all my time, I was like, how in the world am I going to survive this year? And I was like, well, I'm pretty good at advising people. And so I took on somewhere between 13 and 15 advisory clients, and 6 of them exited. And I was like, oh, this is a pretty good feeling. And I was able to do this thing. And I was able to like pass on these like horrible war wounds onto them, right? In the best possible way. Like,
my PTSD gift. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how Social Commerce Club started? Because you said you've only been running this agency for 17 months. I feel like
for 17, maybe 18 months now. It was November of 2024, somewhere in there.
Wow, that is crazy. But the podcast you host, that's been around longer, right?
Exactly. So I've been in this space for a long time in
Okay.
e-commerce. I had Secrets to Scaling Your E-commerce Brand, which is now the unofficial TikTok Shop podcast. And we have just gone all in on TikTok Shop, but social commerce in general, right? Like it's this incredibly new, I really do believe that we are in, we talk about the AI singularity where it's like, we can't really see past AGI. Like, what is that going to look like? Or ASI or whatever that is. Really, truly believe that with social commerce, that there's a social commerce singularity that brands cannot see past. I saw this back in like 2019 when we realized, and this was one of my early guests on my podcast that has like 800 episodes now. And one of the early guests on there was telling me how with their Facebook group, they were selling out launches. And it was also a baby clothing company. I was like, tell me about that. They're like, yeah, well, we have this like
Fond
VIP
memories.
group. Like, it was like, they have this VIP group and somehow they're selling out these like massive collections. And I was like, okay, well, I got to like figure that out. And to me, that was really the early days of social commerce, right? Of realizing how you tap into these people that then become the people that sell products for you. Like, I call TikTok Shop and social commerce like it is the multi-level marketing of 2026. Like that's what it is, right? And if you can tap into that psychology and figure out how to get other people to sell for you, that's really what this is right now, right? And they're going to be posting content anyway. They might as well post great content for you.
I love that. I'm also glad you brought up multi-level marketing. It's how I got into internet marketing, actually, because my dad wanted to prevent me from buying a coffee shop when I was on an oil rig in Alaska. It's like the cheapest business I could think about buying. He's like, "This is a terrible mistake. Come sell vitamins over here." So let's talk about TikTok Shop because I don't know that much about TikTok. Like, I'm not personally on TikTok. Maybe you know the answer to this. I'm not sure. Like, I want to get on TikTok to do more just like content. Like, I become a creator on there, but I'm in Vietnam and I hear that it just shows like wherever you are. So it's like, well, all my audience is in America. So if I post from
Yes.
here, like, I don't,
Yes.
but a few of my friends says after a while it'll shift. But do you know much about this? Like, how does it work?
No, so what you have to do, so if you are somewhere overseas and you want to build an audience in that specific area, you number one need to actually get a cell phone from that area, and then you need to be on a VPN in that area. So even for us, so again, good thing you had a Canadian on here to answer this question. So say
Yes,
that you wanted to
educate
make,
me.
yeah, if you wanted to make US content, like we would actually just go over the border, buy a cell phone over there. It is not good enough just to have a SIM card. Like you need to go over and actually buy the cell phone in the States. Then make sure that it is constantly on a VPN. So it's got an American number as well. I don't know how TikTok knows all this stuff, but somehow.
It's
And then
very
you can make
good.
content from that and it will show where you are based. TikTok is massively geo-targeted. So like it's really important to the algo. Like when you think about all the different things TikTok has done to figure out how to hack human attention, geolocation is one of those things because I think they really believe that that is part of the algorithm and a really important part of the algorithm.
Makes sense. And they are extremely good. Like, I had TikTok on my app, but I didn't have an actual account. So I was just like browsing. And within no time, it found out I love parkour videos. And I found out I love parkour videos at the same time it figured it out. So, like, damn, I'm really into this. So now I watch it all the time on YouTube. But when it comes to running an e-commerce store on TikTok, walk me through the mechanics of it. Because a lot of times the e-commerce people I'm talking to on this podcast are, traditional meta ads to Shopify, or maybe they're an Amazon FBA storefront. So TikTok Shop, it's like some different mechanics. So explain it high level.
Yeah. So a lot of people think, oh, TikTok Shop is just a marketplace, right? And so that it's demand capture. It cannot be further from the truth. So TikTok Shop, think of like meta ads meets Amazon, right? So you've got the demand capture portion within this incredible sphere that actually creates demand, right? And so you've got creators on this side that are incentivized to sell on a closed loop platform within TikTok itself. That is the incredible thing, right? That's why it's such an incredible channel. So the sort of the mechanics of it is that you as a brand are actually sending samples out, trying to get great creators to post about your product. And then that content goes out to the masses. Those people then click on those links that then go back to your store. They get paid a percentage, and then you make the sale on the platform. Incredible thing that we found right when we first started all of this was that within all of this, we also had this incredible halo effect. So this halo went from TikTok over onto .com, onto Amazon. We have a brand that's worked with us for quite a while, and Portland Leather Goods. And when they first started, what they were seeing were hundreds of thousands of dollars a day in revenue on other channels. And they're like, well, we haven't done anything else. We're not even upping our meta spend, like nothing, right? So one of the big things that a lot of brands are seeing these days is like meta is hard, right? Meta as a top of funnel channel is really hard. And a lot of brands aren't understanding the mechanics of like how meta actually works to find new customers. Whereas TikTok Shop, especially the kind of content and the kinds of creators that you're able to work with on TikTok Shop, actually get you that content that you need over on Meta. So you can actually understand it, right? Like that's the crazy thing is like, it is just hacking the top of funnel. So for brands of ours, like there's some brands of ours, and I can't name this particular brand, but they're like $1 billion brand. TikTok Shop is their pace car. They say like, this is the highest priority channel for us. As TikTok Shop ebbs and flows, they see it through their entire funnel, including tons of retail stores, like their own retail, their Amazon, their international, like everything they are seeing comes back to TikTok Shop. That's wild. That's wild.
That's crazy. You are also my spirit animal now, Jordan, because you just used the halo effect. And literally the podcast I was on just before this, where I was the guest, I was talking about the halo effect of like running meta ads to Shopify, how that increases your Amazon sales. So glad someone else uses the halo effect.
Oh, absolutely. I own a piece of software called Halo.
Okay, I am promoting your software.
Well, which is kind of wild too, because like when you think about that from Facebook, like we're still trying to convince people that meta ads create halo onto Amazon. Like, of course, think logically how you interact online, right? Like I think that so many people got caught up in this weird internet marketing world where they forgot that it was actually humans doing the marketing. So like you see a Facebook ad, the amount of times I'll be like, it's funny, actually. I just do not use social media anymore because I do think that it is like the crack of our day.
You're a marketer. But you know how bad it is for you.
100%. I'm a cigarette excecutive in the 80s. Right. There's just no possible way that their kids are smoking, that I'm smoking. Like, no. We know how bad this is for us. But think about the way, like what you do. So if you have Amazon Prime, what are you going to do? You're like, oh, sweet. This looks awesome. Oh, you go look at the product on their.com and you're like, that's cool. Okay, I'm going to see if it's on Prime. And if it's on Prime, you're going to order it there. Like, who doesn't do that?
Right.
Of course, as long as like the price matches up and everything, you're like, yeah, of course I'm going to buy over there. It's the same thing on TikTok Shop, right? Like people are doing that same thing. So when we see $1 that a brand or $100 that a brand has made here, we're generally seeing that same halo onto .com and Amazon, depending on where exactly this brand normally tends. So higher AOV brands tend to go to .com. Right. And then lower AOV brands tend to be on Amazon. So that's kind of where we're seeing it. And then we also see this like massive retail, like just kind of this weird retail halo. And part of that weird retail halo is that these creators sometimes can't get the product on TikTok Shop. And so instead, they're actually going over into retail, purchasing the product. So thousands of people. We have, with a brand that we work with, we have 10,000 active creators. All of those creators had to go over into retail or Amazon or .com and actually just go buy the product first at full retail.
So that kind of brings me to the next question, which you said people went down this like weird internet marketing hole, which that's the era I was kind of born in when it comes to this stuff. And I agree with you, like your attribution, like how long is a piece of string? There's so many different ways you can cut it, what's working and what's not, Like we sold a 7-figure business because a guy likes my poetry on Facebook. That's not a joke. Like, how do we attribute this? I'm the poet of M&A, right? But when it comes to something like this is very interesting to me. Like, if their way of doing the transactions, people going into the retail stores, how are they tying that back to the work you guys are doing on TikTok? Like, what's the mechanic, or is there just not one?
There just isn't. No, there's no mechanic for retail right now. Our software, our internal software that we have called Grow Halo, it really does track where that halo is happening, but not on retail yet. So retail will be the next way that we get that in. We're just figuring out exactly what that looks like from a like big data perspective, just because it's so much data with these big brands. And so we're really seeing now here's a really interesting correlation. We're seeing a direct correlation between GMV max ad spend, which is TikTok Shop's ad spend, and the halo onto other channels, right? Not just, so what we sort of hypothesized is that we were going to see a direct correlation between video views and halo onto other channels. Well, it's not quite that simple. It's actually GMV max is way more powerful. So GMV max is able to get in front of the perfect customer for you, knows exactly who is going to buy. And that seems to halo even more across, which is why we're trying to recommend to brands like just crank your GMV max ad spend, whether or not you're getting diminishing returns on the channel or not, on TikTok Shop or not. We're seeing the halo everywhere because it just seems to know how to get in front of your ideal buyer. More than Advantage Plus, I have to say.
So let's scale it back down to, say I'm an Amazon FBA entrepreneur, which a lot of them listen to this podcast, right? And again, a lot of them are just running Amazon ads and meta ads. What would be the strategy to get started on TikTok Shop? You mentioned working with creators a lot. Are they like outreaching to them? Are those creators finding their TikTok Shop? Like, run me through the basics, the ABCs of getting started for an e-commerce entrepreneur.
Yeah, so you've got to think about this in terms of collaborations. You either have target collaborations, so those go after specific creators, or you have open collaborations that anybody can join. Generally, what you do is you gate everyone from getting a sample, so you have to approve that sample.
And they do that by coming to your TikTok Shop, I assume?
Exactly. So on the back end, there's TikTok Shop Affiliate Center. We use some other tools out there. So one of the tools that I really love is called Reacher. I advise those guys, and they're doing absolutely great work in what they're building right now. And so that it actually automates the majority of the messaging. The problem is, right? These creators, now there's about 4 million-ish creators in the United States alone. It is the Pareto principle of the Pareto principle, 80-20 of 80-20 of 80-20. You've got like maybe 100,000 of those creators that are killer creators. The rest just aren't really driving that much revenue. And so you need to figure out who those number one up and coming creators are, right? Because you can't get a hold of those 100,000 creators. Now, at Social Commerce Club, we can, because we understood from day one that they were going to be the most leveraged. And so we have them in WhatsApp communities for Social Commerce Club, right? That's the incredible thing, is that we really figured out from day one is like, oh, all of the leverage is in these creator communities. Yeah, that's a really big thing, but people can't access those until they actually then get creators to come and work with them. And there's so much that goes into this. Like, you can ask whatever questions you want. I will go down every rabbit hole of how to do this.
I am completely ignorant because I'm not on TikTok at all. So this is great. So I create my TikTok shop. I can get samples. How do I like even start putting my feet in the water to start getting into these creator communities? And by communities, are you meaning like actual groups or just like segments or niche segments of creators on the social platform?
So the issue with TikTok Shop creators is that they are inundated with messages at all times on both their TikTok DMs and TikTok Affiliate Center DMs, right? So they are inundated with messages. Like, if you want to get a hold of one of them, there's not really much that's going to make them say yes, right? Unless they are a new creator or you're willing to offer them some sort of amount of money. So right now, all of the leverage is in the creator's hands, right? And it's really clunky to message on TikTok and on TikTok Shop Affiliate Center. It's just not like instant messaging. So what we do is we use this methodology with brands called the Blitz Methodology. Okay. The Blitz methodology really tries to take advantage of the TikTok algorithm. And so what most brands are doing is sending out like 200-300 samples and being like, okay, post when you can, and then we'll put some money behind it. What we do is we do a coordinated effort. And so this takes a lot of effort on our side. We have to have a lot of staff to be able to do this because we can't actually coordinate this through TikTok. We have to do this offline. And so we coordinate 200-300 samples out to creators. But the only way that creators get to be a part of this Blitz methodology is if they join a WhatsApp group for the brand and for Social Commerce Club. And so then we have direct messaging capabilities with them on WhatsApp. And to me, WhatsApp is the second messaging platform after your iMessage that most people are going to use, right? They're first going to do text messages and then it's WhatsApp, right? So that's why we have chosen that. Most brands are choosing Discord. For me, I am not a Discord fan. Sure, it's very easy to set up like a Slack group, but I mean, how many Slack communities are you a part of that you're like, oh,
yeah, that you never check. You just see the endless red notifications.
Totally. It's all
Yeah.
noise, right? So what we're trying to do constantly is think about signal, right? How do we create signal within these communities so that we can actually talk to people, right? So that we can have these one-on-one conversations. And so we send out all of these samples and we say, hold any of your videos. We want each of you to make between 5 and 10 videos. Also at the same time for a Blitz, we also offer a contest. And so we say, if you have posted 10 videos, 10 videos is like your ante to get in. So if you posted 10 videos and then whoever has the most GMV is going to win, one of our brands this month is giving away a Tesla. So like super cool. Awesome. If you win this contest, you win a Tesla. Like great. Such a good prize to be able to give. And when you think about it, this brand is going to do like 2 million in GMV this month. plus this massive halo that they see everywhere else right now.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it's good. Give away the Tesla if you can, right? Because it really gets creators super, super excited and posting more and more videos. And so what we do is we send out all of these samples, so 200 or 300 samples, and we say, hey, by the way, on June 25th, we're going to be doing the Blitz. Hold all your videos until then. Then in the WhatsApp group, we let them know the Blitz starts now, and creators start putting their videos out. Well, at that moment, what you're doing is you're gamifying the TikTok algorithm so that you are basically showing up everywhere, right? All at the same time, rather than this drip feed within the algorithm, you're showing up all at the same time. Then we pour gasoline onto the fire, right? We're like, okay, now let's pour money in form of GMV max into this. And you can just see, like, I've got screenshot after screenshot of these brands being like, nothing. Like a Portland Leather Goods, they came to us when they were doing 40,000 a month in sales, and they were trying everything that they could internally. Like, okay, let's just hire Social Commerce Club. And now they'll be at like 2 million this month. So like, amazing. This methodology works. It was hard fought. Like, we messed up so many times. We screwed up with, I don't know, 70, 80 brands. We just couldn't figure it out. And then when we figured it out, oh my gosh, it hit like crazy.
So the takeaway is recruiting is tough. You got to figure out a prize to get them on board, coordinate them in a WhatsApp group or some kind of group that everyone can communicate, release all the content. It sounds like in a pretty quick succession, like in a short window. You keep using the word blitz. So assuming like within a week to release.
No, like 24 to 48 hours.
Oh, even shorter.
When you want it. Yeah. And then you've got the wheel turning.
Right. And the algo is starting to pick up this thing.
Exactly. And then that's the moment when these huge creators see the Blitz, they see this product trending, and they're like, sweet, I think I can make money over there selling those bags. And then they come and they're like, whoa, that's crazy, right? Then you get these massive, like, we have creators that are associated with Social Commerce Club. We have 12 creators in Social Commerce Club that generate more than $1 million a month in GMV. Think about that. $1 million a month. They're called L7 creators. So, and then we've got L3 and above. We have like 7,000 of these creators.
So with the Blitz, you don't even have the big creators in the initial Blitz. It's just like the Blitz is going so crazy, it starts attracting those big creators like, hey, I want to get in on this.
Exactly. And then those creators are like, sweet, there's my next way to make a ton of money. And then they come into the brand, right?
So it becomes a virtuous cycle.
Exactly. Versus the noise that most brands do. Right? Most brands are like, I sent out 500 samples and I didn't really get much. I'm like, yeah, because you didn't coordinate it, right? You had a bunch of noise out there, right? It's like somebody like being like, well, I posted like 1,000 times. It's like, sweet. What did you learn from each subsequent post? Like, I agree, post 1,000 times, but like every single time learn, right? Like, that is the important thing.
That is such a non-marketer thing I hear all the time. Like, oh, meta ads don't work or webinars don't work. Like, no, dude, you just don't know how to make them work. Like, they definitely do work. Like when I was first starting to do cold email, like cold outbound for EF, right? We were probably about 3 months in, and I told the guys, like, look, this is going to be like an 18-month process because I'd never done it before. I have to learn it all, right? I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. And we're in like no meetings yet. I had a couple in, but nothing great. And they're like, well, is it because the strategy is bad? Like, no, the execution is bad. Like, but you're the one executing it, Greg. Like, I know I still suck at it. I'm learning how to do it. You know, like you have to go through the sucking to start getting better.
Totally. And that's with so many things, right? Where like you have to get through this level. And most people think that they know. They're like, yeah, I know the thing. Like, I think about my first webinar that I ever did. I remember watching like a Russell Brunson video to be like, oh, here's how you do a webinar, right? And you're like, okay, I think I know what to do. And now I'm like, I've done hundreds and hundreds of webinars, and I see people on the first side and I'm like, oh yeah, you just don't know what you don't know yet on that side, right? Like,
yeah, man. I was spoken all around the world at conferences. The biggest one was in Dubai. It was like in front of 5,000 people. It was a rock star moment for me. But just a few years ago, I was failing hard at a conference in Bali, like in front of like 80 people, where the conference owner's like, dude, that was the worst speech I've ever seen, right? So you get better as long as you keep like learning over and over again.
As long as you actually learn.
That's the key. Absolutely.
The key. Yeah, the key is to be like, oh, okay, so I had this bankruptcy over here. I am going to do different things, rather than, the problem is so many people are protecting their ego, right? Yeah. They're protecting their ego and being like, well, no, it must have been like market forces. No, the problem is always you. The problem is always you. It is always your methodology. It's always you. It's never the market. No one's shadow banning you. like it's your content sucks, right? Like it always take the blame, right? It is the most important possible thing you can do is to take the blame, because otherwise, like you're just never going to learn.
It's like that old movie. What's it called? Glenn Ross, I think. The leads aren't weak. You're weak.
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
movie. Well, this is awesome information, man. So once you get this blitzkrieg going, blitz, maybe not blitzkrieg, blitz. Once you get the blitz going, you have all this momentum happening. People are buying off of the TikTok shop like directly, I assume. So it's pretty good to like the in-app attribution must be pretty good, no?
The attribution is perfect, right? That's the beautiful thing, is like it's completely perfect. Now, TikTok also has a pixel for your .com specifically with Shopify. So they've got a really great integration that is trying to track the .com, the halo effect. So that's interesting as well. I don't think that it's quite there. We use quite a better sophisticated sort of algorithm that uses Amazon, that uses all of these different things, takes into consideration all of the different like promo periods that could have happened, Prime Day, right? Like you see all of this. It's really interesting because you see Prime Day happen, right? We're actually right on the heels of Prime Day right now, or right on, I don't know, right in the foot of Prime Day. And as we're recording this, and you see a Prime Day happen, and you do not see the same halo from Prime Day over onto TikTok Shop. It just doesn't work that way, right? It is demand capture at its core, right? Like I used to not believe this, that every single brand needs to be on Amazon. Like it is where people buy things, right? Like you have to be there. But on the other side, like you guys are going to see, Greg, you're going to see brand after brand after brand that has TikTok Shop now as a primary traffic driver.
We're already being sold. Yeah, like 6 months ago, we started seeing it, right? Like M&A always lags a bit, right?
Yes.
Because so much of selling a business is based on historicals. You can't just like, oh, I did $1 million this month. Like, well, okay, you don't have a 7-figure business yet. Let's like, we got to wait 12 months, right? But now we're starting to see them come onto the marketplace a whole lot more. And you're absolutely right. It's like a big segment. Like it used to be 100% Amazon ads and, Meta ads. Like if it's Shopify store, it was all Meta ads. But that's certainly not the case anymore. So you're right.
Yeah, I really truly believe that brands do not understand the singularity portion that we are in with social commerce, right? Like I am just about done writing a book on this. We're about to release this book. And the idea is really that we're entering this next time. So there was, back in the late 1800s, right? The Sears catalog shows up. And suddenly people are looking at this and being like, oh, I don't have to just go to the general store and buy things. I can now, like before, they had to just go to the general store and whatever was there is what they would purchase. Well, this was a singularity of sorts, right? Where people are looking at this catalog being like, whoa, I can buy all of this. It's the same thing where brands were controlling the narrative before, right? They were controlling all of the inputs for the brands. It's not like that anymore, right? Now, they're giving up control of the narrative to the people that are their customers anyway. All these creators are their best customers. And they're the ones that actually understand how this product is used, right? And they're the ones that are creating the narrative around it. Like we have, again, like another $1 billion brand that works with us. Their core narratives of their products are coming from the creators, because the creators are figuring out what's working. So it's like in real time, this research loop and very fast loops, incredibly fast learning loops that brands are seeing. And they're like, whoa, the creator here seems to be talking about it in this certain way. We're now going to go and position it in retail like that. Or like a brand that we worked with, they had a product that they're like, hey guys, it was a footwear brand. They're like, can you try and get rid of this product? I'm like, sure, let's talk to the creators about it. And it was a product that they were going to discontinue. These creators end up selling the product out. It has more demand than ever. It got so big, this product, that Sydney Sweeney ended up repping it. It was that, like, it went from nothing to the top of the person that everyone looks at as sort of like the top, like the Britney Spears of my day, as the person that is now repping the product. Think about that. They would have just gotten rid of that product, and now it's one of their core offerings. Like, that is what TikTok Shop does. That's why brands do not see past this moment yet, and they're not seeing the singularity that is right in front of them.
This is fascinating. You brought up Sears catalog, which I'm a copywriting nerd, and that's where like the initial legends of copywriting came out of, was the Sears catalog log back in like the 1800s. But what you just described with the singularity happening, it almost seems like the free market of ideas, right? It's like letting the people decide what the store, like you said, decide the narrative. Yeah. I think this is awesome. Like there's no better way to test than to see how the market reacts. And the thing you just said about the dead product, I think too many people make this mistake. We're like, oh, people don't want this. Like, well, maybe they don't want it because of how you're dressing it up, right? Like, let's reposition it, let's rebrand it. And that works like not just on the TikTok stuff, but I've seen it work on all sorts of different channels, just like changing your positioning of how you're presenting an offer, and suddenly it goes
Totally.
crazy. There's a, I don't know how big of a nerd you are, but there's a company called Games Workshop that is a little plastic figurines like for wargaming, right? Warhammer.
Okay. Yeah.
And they had this old school game called Warhammer Fantasy. It was like, knights, dragons, and then they have their sci-fi one, which makes them way more money. So they shut down all of the old world stuff. But then Total War came out with a video game based on the old Warhammer Fantasy. And it did so well that there was like a global swelling, like, bring it back, bring it back. They're like, oh shit, we just like discontinued everything in our factories. So they had to like rush to like cash in on this thing because the marketing campaign was so good. And weird fun fact trivia, Games Workshop at one point was more valuable than Apple, which is kind of crazy to think
Wow.
about. But yeah, like I love this type of stuff, man. So how can small e-commerce entrepreneurs, you mentioned these billion-dollar clients, most of my audience are probably going to be, low seven figures, mid seven figures. How can these small e-commerce store owner take advantage of this singularity you're talking about?
Yeah. So, number one, you need to really have a new mindset, right? A mindset that the creator is the most important piece of like the biggest asset that your brand is going to have, and start treating them like that. Like, one of the things I failed to mention before is one-on-one talks with your creators are so incredibly important. Getting that feedback from the creators is so incredibly important. And any brand can do that. So the majority of your time, if I were running a mid seven figure brand right now, the majority of my time would be spent with those creators and helping understand from their perspective. I want them to tell me about my brand because they're seeing all of these brands all over the place. I want to hear straight from them and get as much possible feedback as I can. And that is where I would spend the majority of my time. Do not try and AI your way out of this one. You will not. This is going to be, if you're not good at relationships, the social commerce singularity is going to suck for you, right? It's going to hire somebody.
If you're an SEO.
Yeah, if you're an SEO, it's not going to work for you. Now, one quick interesting thing is I really believe that social SEO is going to be absolutely massive in the coming years, that we're seeing social search is outpacing agentic search right now, which is just wild, right? Like, so building videos for social search, really important in the coming time.
A doomsday theory that I view Google as our generation's yellow pages. It'll always be useful, but I think its dominance is finally going away in a big way. So yeah.
Google search especially. I mean, even the results that they're giving, like the Gemini results, are kind of like,
I'm very skeptical of the results sometimes. Yeah. It's not looking great over there on the 10 blue links, But okay, like I like what you're saying here because it's customer research at the end of the day, which is something I am a big, big believer in. Because your brand, what you think your brand is, then you have what your brand actually is, right? And these often are not aligned as much as you think they are. So totally. I agree with that. So next step after I'm cultivating these relationships with the creators, how do I, as this mid seven figure guy who maybe can't give the Tesla away, get these creators to come on board with me?
Well, number one, you need to become the best content creator for your brand. So the skills that brand owners need today as they're scaling from, brand new brand into low seven figures, mid seven figures, you need to become the best possible content creator for your brand. You need to understand that, whether that is, you hire somebody to do that, probably from a sellability perspective, that might be the best thing, is to create whatever that is. But you need to engineer virality. So you need to figure out, how do I engineer virality for my brand, and then just do it over and over again, because these creators want the easy button. And so if you can be like, hey, I made these few videos, these ones have actually gone viral, they've produced a ton of cash for my company, awesome. That is going to be where you're going to win.
Okay, that's awesome. And you also mentioned once your Blitz starts going, you add fuel to the fire. Are you running ads to the content that your creators are creating as well?
Yes.
Okay, describe that to me.
So it's via Spark ads. So Spark ads essentially are like partnership ads on Meta, right? So you're actually boosting those particular ads. A lot of creators actually have what's called automatic authorization on. So they automatically get picked up by GMV Max, but a lot of them still, you need to get a Spark code from them. So you go and pick up the Spark code from them, you put it into your GMV Max, and then from there you will start spending against that. My recommendation is to let GMV Max figure out where to put the ad spend. Sometimes you'll see some videos that are like, oh, it's only gotten like $50 of ad spend, but it's produced 10 sales. Yes, it was the perfect video for this small, tiny avatar that was there. Don't mess with the algorithm. The algorithm knows so much more than you know. Like, it's scary. Like, the TikTok algorithm, like, it is the most powerful AI that is out there right now. Like, again, is the crack of our day. And like, just trust the algorithm.
You just reminded me of like one of the tests a lot of meta marketers would do. If the campaign isn't working, they'll do the old IT advice, just turn the campaign off, duplicate it, turn it back on. Suddenly it's like flying.
Totally.
I'm a master at this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start running ads towards these creator videos. Is it like when you run ads towards the creator video, or you're pumping up the creator video, are they still getting affiliate commissions on that too? Like, is it added benefit,
yes,
or is that just
it's a separate affiliate commission though, Greg?
Separate.
So you can set two different affiliate commissions. So one is ads only and one is organic. So I highly recommend having a very generous organic one, and then be a little bit more stingy on the ads commission.
So that's my next question. Like, what is like the general fee structure to get someone involved in this? Like, what would you recommend as the incentives, like the affiliate commissions or whatever, to get creators in?
So it really has to do with your average order value. So creators will not look at a product that they are not going to make at least $5 per sale on. So they do anything that they're not going to make $5 on. That's really, really important for you to know. So having your AOV at a certain level, again, like let's look at a Portland Leather Goods AOV of around 120-ish. So when we're offering, say, a 20% commission, that is juicy, right? That's $25 per sale. But you need to look at your numbers. Do not go into this and try to, like, your unit economics have to work. Now, you are going to lose money at the beginning. Just no doubt you are going to lose money at the beginning, but don't lose money per sale at the beginning. There's no need to do that, right? So that again, and then look and see where your potential return on ad spend is as well on the channel. And then factor in the fact you're going to be paying a certain commission to those creators on ad-driven sales. That also is incredibly important. So all of that together, yeah, it's really, really important.
Interesting. And who is handling the payout to the affiliates? I assume, I guess TikTok Shop handles all of that for you, yeah?
Exactly. So they take care of the entire thing, which is really, really nice. So you don't have any dollars in, dollars out. Like, it's very, very simple. You need to take care of some of the incentive payments that you want to make to your creators. And when it comes to contests and all of that kind of stuff, again, Reacher is the one that I recommend. They take care of all of that. They have everything built internally. It's incredible.
This is a very ignorant question, but if someone buys off of your TikTok Shop, are they added into like your database, like your CRM, your Klaviyo, whatever? Or does TikTok like try to keep it ish? Okay.
So it's kind of in between Amazon and Shopify, right? You do have access to some of that. They can double opt in to email. You also have a built-in CRM within TikTok Shop itself that you can get a hold of customers, which is really nice. So I wouldn't say that you own the customer in the same way that you do with .com, but it's right in the middle.
Gotcha. And in terms of what works on TikTok Shop, does it have to be like broad mass, like consumer appeal, or can there be more niche items, or even like B2B physical products or B2B services and other stuff? Have you seen, like weird examples of TikTok Shops just rocking it?
So as of right now, there's only one approved digital product vendor, and that's a gift card vendor. They've come to us, obviously.
Of course, coming to the club.
Yeah, so there's one that's approved. We don't know whether or not this test is going to work out. Everything else has to be physical products. Very important. It has to be physical products. Niche is okay, right? Like, think about like Seth Godin's like smallest viable market, right? Like, that is how you get a product to go viral, is find the smallest viable niche market. And somehow, sometimes these products have this weird ability to go viral, right? And we don't know that yet. And so I highly recommend getting into these niches. If any platform is incredible at finding niches, it is TikTok. It understands these weird niches more than anyone. I mean, especially if you've ever been on TikTok, like you were saying, exactly, like you got to these parkour videos that you're like, oh, okay, great. I love these videos,
Yeah. Huge
right? So
fan.
it knows you more than you know you.
Yeah. That's all good advice. I want to transition because we're coming up on time here. So I want to transition to a couple more broader questions outside of TikTok because you ran quite a few e-commerce brands yourself.
Yes.
So in your view, like the entrepreneur trying to build up this e-commerce store, maybe to sell, maybe not, just to grow it. What do you think is the most important part? Maybe the most two or three important things for an e-commerce entrepreneur to always be thinking about?
Gross margin. I think that if you do not have your gross margin figured out, it makes life so incredibly difficult. If you don't know your unit economics properly, it's just really hard to scale and then understand where that engine is going. That is incredibly important. Like for me, all of my issues came down to gross margin and inventory issues, right? Like, and it was visibility and transparency into both of those things. If you don't understand that, it makes life way more difficult. That's the like base of anything, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I think unit economics, regardless of the business you're in, I mean, obviously takes very different shapes versus a physical business versus a service business, but incredibly important. I agree. What would you tell them if they wanted to grow as fast as possible? Like, obviously it's like kind of ask how long is a piece of string so you don't know the business you're talking to, but they have big goals. They want to 2, 3x their business in the next 2 years. Where would you have them focus?
I would go straight to TikTok Shop. I would figure out how to engineer virality in your niche. I'd go look at all of your creators and start to generate your own virality within your own niche and become the best possible TikTok content creator that you can. That is how I would double, triple a business right now, because it's going to be your top of funnel that's going to feed everything else. It's going to feed your meta ads, right? It's going to feed any of the content that you have in email. It's going to feed YouTube shorts. It's going to feed all of these different areas, but it all starts with TikTok content. The other content does not go the other way around, right? It is a one-way door from TikTok to other channels. And so that's what I would do right now to figure out how to double or triple a business.
Yeah, I want to probably I'll save it for the next question because we're coming out of time. I want to ask you about your agency, but before we move off of TikTok completely here, you mentioned if you want to make the business as sellable as possible, like hire someone to be the person on camera, which I totally agree with. I think that's great. But for my own personal experience, because I've tried not to be the face of EF, even though I'm not the owner, I've tried to replace myself as the face as well. Like it's hard. So how do you go about hiring that face? Like, what's your advice there?
It's a really, really difficult hire, right? To make that, which is why TikTok Shop allows for you to test this out, right? Like you can go and work with all these different creators and you could potentially find one that you're like, hey, I'd love to give you some equity in this company to be the face, right? Or maybe it's 5 faces, right? Whatever that is, like founder-led brands are incredible. Social Commerce Club is a founder-led brand. Like think of like Alex Hormozy, right? Well, he's still able to sell his companies, right? Like,
Right.
yes, of all of the things that I see, and obviously you guys see more, right? And Andy said, founder dependence is absolutely massive. I'm just not sure if it's founder dependence in the same sort of way with social media. Because I think that founders can come along and transfer some of that over, right? Like I think that you can still do that and you can build up people around you, but humans want to buy from humans at the end of the day. So like,
Yep.
don't sacrifice being able to go viral and sell things just because you're like, well, at some point I'm going to want to sell. It's like, yeah, but
Yeah,
also nobody makes content like you do, right? Like, so of course.
I agree with you. Like, I'm not a big fan of personal brands, but I think when you first start, it is the absolute biggest shortcut. I actually did this like super long ramble about Alex Hormozy with his like new book launch that he did a few months ago. Incredible webinar funnel, right? But I get asked all the time, like, well, if I think personal brands are useless, but Alex Hormozy is still doing it, like, you must be wrong. Like, well, can you really, outside of school and acquisitions.com, what company does he own? You don't know because he's not the brand of those companies, right?
Yeah.
So I always view personal brand like is this temporary thing to get you to this next level, but it can't be like the long term thing. So like Hormozy is big, forgetting the name of the company, his gym company that made all of his initial wealth. He was the face of it till he decided he was going to go sell it. Then it took like 6 months to make like his COO like the face and all the ads, which
Yeah.
did see profit dip, but then stabilized, start going up once he got better, right? So then he used that personal brand for the exact same reason why we're doing this podcast, right? Because like if I wanted you to sell your business with me, we didn't know each other at all. Like, hey, sell your business with me. Like, dude, Greg, who the hell are you, right?
Yeah.
So he's doing to build relationships super lightning quick is my argument for his why he's still doing the personal brand, because he needs to win all this trust to be able to get that deal flow, right? But I think what you said makes sense. Like, would you always give equity to the creator, or are you able to hire this as like a salaried position, or the creator's like, no, I'm way too valuable?
No, you could hire it. It really depends who and how you're talking to. I mean, I've got other thoughts on equity these days after
Sure, I bet.
going through stuff where in future businesses, I am much more unlikely to give real equity rather than phantom equity. I don't think that one shareholder who's very minority holding all of the power makes any sense whatsoever when you as the founder are the one that has actually done the work and you're just being kind giving equity. I just wouldn't do it. I would give phantom equity.
You would give phantom.
What's that?
Equity. You said
I do phantom equity.
Phantom equity. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's I'm forgetting the name of him. I think he's the guy who started Maxim magazine, but he wrote a book like Here's How to Get Filthy Fucking Rich or something like that. It was a great book, but he mentioned like, you don't ever give away any of your equity. Hold on to it like a Scrooge, like every inch. And he has this story where his executive team came to him in London and they like demanded equity from him or they were going to walk. And he said, I had 4 new jobs because he gave nothing to them.
Wow.
Like, I don't think you have to go that hardcore, but he has a point. It's the most valuable thing in your company, which is the thing. Like in my space, I have a bunch of friends that are always trying to raise money from investors and give them equity, right? But then I mentioned like, go get debt. They're like, oh my God, debt. But like, this is way cheaper, man. You have no idea how much money you're giving up by giving equity to these investors.
If you believe you're building an asset that is sellable, if you believe it, right? Then why would you not go get debt? Otherwise, going and raising money for equity is like, yeah, I get it. We've been in this phase where we do that. Like, I am not interested in that. I am not interested in having a boss. I'm not interested in raising money from external people like that. That is not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in building something massively long lasting and incredible.
100%, man. Like, I mentioned, let's say the bank charges you 25% interest. Like, oh my God, that's so much. Like on 100 grand, they want 25 grand. I promise you, your investors want a whole lot more than 25 grand.
And your time.
And your time. And they might screw you out of the entire deal. Like I, ran Fishkin with Moz. He has his whole book, Lost and Founder, right? I think in his case, he just got heavily diluted. And he was the founder, It's an amazing stuff. But anyways, I do have one last question before we wrap up here, man. Maybe one more if we can sneak it in. But on the agency side, I have a lot of friends who are listening to this who are building their own agencies, a lot of SEO, paid media, all that kind of stuff. What would be your biggest tip or piece of wisdom from building your own agency so quickly over the last 17 months?
I would say that talent is... So I never really understood this. I remember that an advisor of mine would always say, like, this might even be like a Steve Jobs-ism, right? That like one A player can work, 10 to 100 B players. It has never not been true. And that people you used to think were A players, often as you hire above them, will constantly be surprised. Like we're always upgrading our people. And I'm like, oh man, that person used to be an A player. I think there's this law of the lid. And so the law of the lid is that your organization cannot go above whoever they are above, right? So a 7 cannot hire an 8. It just doesn't work, right? And so for you as the founder, you need to constantly be raising your lid. So if you think about a classic, like a Warren Buffett is such a good example, right? Because he spent his entire days just reading, right? To upgrade himself constantly. So you as the founder, whatever position you're in, need to be raising your lid constantly so that you actually have the capacity to hire these 9s below you. You must be a 10 and an 11. Like you have to just constantly be doing that or you can't hire those people below you. Right?
I like that.
People say hire smarter people and it's like, well, maybe those people don't want to come work for you.
They outsmart you.
Yeah.
I have a friend. I don't know if you know him, Eric Sue. I think Eric Sue is the one who told me this. He runs a marketing agency himself. It was either him or someone around his orbit, but there was this guy who told me don't hire A players, hire C players in an A system, because most people are C players. So if you can make the business work for C players because it's an A system, then you're good to go. You probably need some A players to help you build that type of system. But what are your thoughts on that?
That's an interesting. So I've done stuff like that in the past, and it has not worked out in the same sort of way that Social Commerce Club. Well, I would say always hire A character people.
I agree with that. Yeah.
A characters are so ridiculously important. And as soon as you see character faults in your leaders, get rid of them. When you see a character fault, you must get rid of them. And I know it's really difficult. This is a lesson that I've recently learned, but character faults are just the tip of the iceberg of the actual character fault. When you see that, you're like, oh, interesting. So I was just on with the financial advisor, and that's a really big decision to make at 40 years old, right? To switch financial advisors. And it was an incredible conversation. And I found out that he has 7 kids. I was like, oh, well, that tells me about a trillion things about you that I already know and values. I have 4 kids. Like, I already know and value, and I know, holy cow. And I was like, and then my next question is, was it all with the same wife? Yes. Awesome. You literally just told me everything character-wise I kind of need to know about you, right? Like, that to me makes a massive difference. Character is so hard. And if you hear somebody talking within your organization, if you hear them explicitly talking about the values that they see in other people that they like, generally it's because they're making up for some sort of deficiency within themselves. I rarely have ever heard high character people constantly berating other people for their lack of character. So those are really important things, especially as you're growing a big agency. Like, we're like, I don't know, between 80 and 90 people right now. It's really difficult. And this is in the world of AI. Like,
Right.
like this would be like a 150 person agency, not in the world of AI. Like, character is so important. It's just so important.
I mean, toxicity, even just one person on the team that's toxic, like it's okay to have arguments or people can make mistakes and stuff, but the toxicity part of it, like that's a cancer in an organization, right? You got to get rid of it for sure as fast as possible. I have definitely seen companies get destroyed by like leaving in that toxic element too long and just like spreads its wings. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you, man. Well, we're on time. But my final question for you is, what has been your funniest moment since working in this whole crazy internet marketing world?
My funniest moment. What a great question. Is this a question you ask every time?
I usually have a rapid fire section, but since we only have like 6 seconds before the hour, no pressure here, but I can't publish it unless you make me laugh with the memory.
I think my funniest moment is meeting people in real life when we're on this level and realizing I'm like 6'4". And sometimes you'll meet someone in real life and you're like, oh my gosh, you're like 5 foot. And then every single time they say to me, they're like, dude, you're so tall. I cannot believe how tall you are.
We'll wrap up after this, but you just reminded me of a very embarrassing moment. I was MC at this conference and I was introducing this next speaker. I was like, hey, man, are you ready? He's like, yeah, dude, I'm excited. It's good to see you. Like, yeah, good to see you. And he's like, you don't know who I am, do you? Like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, wait, what's your name? And he gave me his name. He showed me his Facebook. Like, why didn't you just lead with the profile picture with you holding the fish? I only know you as this 2-dimensional guy holding the fish.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, dude. That's great. Well, for anyone that wants to connect with you, with your agency, or just, connect on social or whatever, where should we send people?
So people can just go to socialcommerceclub.com or connect with me on LinkedIn. I am very active on LinkedIn and Twitter. So if you just search Jordan West Marketer over there, or Jordan West Ecom, I will come up. Very, very active in that world.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll put all those links in the show notes. And I had a blast, man. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, what a fun conversation, Greg. Thanks so much for having me on.
You bet. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it got you inspired at all the different things that are happening in this industry. And of course, if you just want to buy a highly profitable business, you can always go to empireflippers.com/marketplace, or maybe you want to make an exit of your highly profitable business, and you could go to empireflippers.com/sell your site. I've been your host, Greg. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave a review, give us a like, a follow, share it across social media. Talk to you all soon. See you on the next episode.